never satisfied. Religion's fire's been bastardized. Wheels and wheels spinning around. It's apocalypse now. World's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. See the signs every day, but I can't quit it. Lost in a maze, ain't no fixing. The world's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. Choose between the truth and lies. A new day will come and the sun will rise. Hand in hand, our faith restored. Put your armor on and raise up your sword. World's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. See the signs every day, but I can't quit it. Lost in a maze, ain't no fixing. The world's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. The world's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. See the signs every day, but I can't quit it. Lost in a maze, ain't no fixing. The world's gone crazy and it's trying to take me with it. The world's gone crazy.
Okay, that was Paul Seals and song World's Gone Crazy and Trying to Take Me With It. We're going to be moving to another laptop in a sec because suddenly we're not allowed to stream to Twitter. We've been banned from all Twitter accounts, which is something new. So hopefully it's the computer. Yes, I'm just gonna bear with me. I'm just gonna play another song as I move to another computer. Hold on.
In soiled aquariums, grimed by time, giant mud crabs, their kingdoms wired. Watch their last sun carving. The dealers deal their wares here to the drowning, arriving in European cars, quiet faces down narrowed lanes, craving a methadone cure. Vincent deals here, he travels my tram with Jenna, who is always by his side, her floating eyes missing. The rest of drugs pass in Mandarin and Thai. We pass $2 shops selling stuff that simply won't last long enough to let anyone know that any of our...
Okay, we'll come back to that song later. Let's see if we can get onto Twitter now. Bear with me. First time we've ever been banned from Twitter. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to bring on a gentleman now who's been a huge supporter of Café Locked Out and in many, many ways. And wow. Yeah, okay. We're banned from Twitter. That's new. And and we're going to come on tonight and have a really, really, really great chat and he's all the way from Dalesford, and this is my mate, my brother from another mother, black mother, Brian Melder.
Hello, Michael. My name is Life of.
Now let's get started.
Yeah.
First off, we are going to talk about mass migration, but before we do, when did you, as a migrant, turn up in Australia?
So we immigrated from a little town called Kharagpur near Calcutta in India, northeast Bengal. And we came out here in July the 4th, 1969.
1969.
Yeah. So
now there was a policy in place then. What was that policy?
Correct. That was the white-only policy. So,
how did you get your little black butt through the door?
Well, I think I was wearing white. No, so what happened was my dad's brother-in-law was an architect lecturer here in Melbourne. So through that, we got sponsorship, and we had to go through a whole point system in India. We had to go through an interview, and if you didn't pass it, you had to pay your way too to come out here. So we did this point system, but you could fail the point system. You have to go back again. And I remember clearly that my mother slipped the guy a couple of extra rupees, to get us through. So we got through, and the day before we were to leave, I went back to where I used to live, and we had servants in those days. It's quite common to have servants. It wasn't like an elitist thing. And they used to live on our grounds. And I went back, and the day I went back to say goodbye to them, I was trying to balance on these little pipes that were like 4 inches off the ground, and I fell and broke my arm. So I was shitting myself, because the next day we were flying out, and I walked home to my new place, and the servant was with me, and my mum goes, "What's going on?" And he goes, and he said to her in Hindi, like, "I broke my arm." And she goes, "Show me your arm." And my arm was swollen, and it was just killing me. So I had to race to the hospital, and my brother's friend took me on his push bike, whilst my mum caught a rickshaw to the hospital and said, "I'll be there." And I'm crying. I was only 7. So I get to the hospital, and it's, just on a dirt road. So the guys are talking in Hindi, and they're being really quiet, and I can understand Hindi, no worries, when I was a kid. And one of them just laid me on the table, goes, it's okay, don't worry, your mother will be here. And next thing I know, one's turned my head, and the other one's just cracked my arm out. And I just screamed my head off.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and then my mum rocks up in the rickshaw and said, "Where were you? What happened?" But we went, so caught our flight.
Or disconnected?
It just popped out. The whole elbow just popped out.
Oh, so it was dislocated. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
but
you
it
know
was
what? I had a doctor in Australia do the same thing to me. I'd had a fight in the school playground in grade year 10, and I dislocated my my little finger is all swollen up, and he's just massaging it and going, "Oh, what's that?" I looked up at what's that, and he went,
"Oh."
But there was no anesthetic, no this.
Yeah, same in India, same thing, like distraction, and that was it. But we flew the next day. I had my old arm and plaster, and we flew out the next day to come to Australia. But it was sort of like a stopover flight in Bangkok, Singapore, changeover, and then we flew to Bangkok, stayed the night, and then we came into Essendon Airport because Tullamarine didn't exist then.
Wow. It was
okay, pretty
so
cool.
I was a year behind you. I came to Australia in 1970 from Wales. We came on ships.
Oh, right.
We were £10 POMs. We didn't have to pay. It was £10 for the whole family, but you guys had to pay the full price.
Oh, yeah, we had to pay, yeah. And you were only allowed to bring in a certain amount of money. You couldn't bring in a whole heap. So, I mean, my mum somehow got the notes through black market money. Like, she'd go to the markets in Calcutta and swap the Indian rupees for Australian money. So, we could get started, and we went to a little, it was a town then, but it was Mornington. It's in the peninsula.
Yeah.
So we drove from Tullamarine to Mornington. It felt like forever in the car. It was an old HT Holden. And we got there, and I hated it. I said to my mum, "Why did you bring me?" And because it was cold. It was winter, and we had no warm clothes. So my mum went to op shop the next day and bought all these old long johns for me. It's sort of like, what? And then, you remember when they used to have those gas hot water systems that were on the edge of the tub? Like a bathtub. We used to light it and you'd swing it around. Yeah, and it was boiling hot water. And I remember her saying to me, "Don't touch that," And of course, being a kid, you want to touch it, but I could feel the heat, and I went, "Nah." It was amazing. It was just an amazing time, and I saw the man land on the moon, Michael.
No way, from Australia.
No, yeah, because it was on black and white TV, and my uncle goes, "Come on, let's watch the man landing on the moon." I'm going, what's that? We all sat around, the whole family, like two families sitting around on the black and white TV watching this. And I remember watching Johnny Famishon fighting the Japanese guy, Harada, I think it was. Yeah. And it was just, it was a magical time. Like, I didn't understand. And of course, I was talking like this all the time. And all the kids at school were making fun of me because, we were actually, I'm Anglo-Indian. So there was only 5 Anglo-Indian families in Mornington on that time. So we were all watched. Like, everyone would just point at us walking down the street, kids making fun of it. And I went to a Catholic school and the Catholic kids were making fun of us, but it was another time. And it was like, now people say, I don't like, for me, racism was in its height then because we were the minority. So
hold on. I'm a bit younger than you. I went to school. I was 5. They sent me in school in Adelaide, and I came home, and my mum said I came home and said, "Mum, what's a bloody pom?" And that's what the teacher had called me.
Yeah, well, it was the teacher.
I must have had a really Welsh accent or something. I don't know. But...
Because I remember when I'd come home from school and my cousin was a bit older than me, because he was here a year before us. I said to him, "What the hell's a bung?" And he goes, "Don't you know?" I go, "What's a bung? Like, what's an abo? What is an abo?" Like, I'm going, "What?" And he goes, "We're not one of those." I go, "What's an abo anyway?" He goes, "Aboriginal." And I go, "Well, what's a bung?" He goes, "A black person." I'm going, "What?"
Oh, so they were calling you that?
Yes. Yeah. I was being called also, and being called a wog. I'm going, I didn't know what a wog is. So but you could tell by the tone of voice that it wasn't a nice thing, So I didn't understand. But and they were making fun of my accent. And in the end, I think it only took me like 3 months, and I was talking like this instead of talking like that, So it was really.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I ask, what was it like not having maids, where suddenly there's not someone there? Because first off, let's go back the other way. What would the maid do for you that suddenly you had to do for yourself? So when you're in India, what would the maid, if you got up in the morning, what would happen? Is she there?
So we had a lady called Anaya, which was the cook. Anaya is a cook. And then we had another man, a rickshaw man that would take me to school, or I'd walk to school. But I actually had my own, a young guy about 15 that would take me to school and bring me back and, like look after me. So I had a mentor sort of guy, not a mentor, but a helper coming along, and it was just like wherever I went, he was like looking after me. But, after a certain amount of time, you just play with your friends, you run off with other friends, and it was freedom in India was just amazing. Like we lived on probably, it looked big as a kid, but I think it was probably a half-acre block of land.
Yeah.
And when my father worked in the railways there, so we were quite privileged on some level. He was a train driver and he used to drive steam trains.
Wow.
And I have to share something with everyone out there in the South. On holidays, my dad would take me in the steam train and get me to sit on his lap whilst the fireman's shoveling in all the coal. This is in India, of course. It's allowed,
Yeah.
And then I'd sit on his lap and he'd get me to blow the whistle whilst he's driving the train to the destination. Wow. And it was wild. Like I remember in his eulogy, I wrote about that and saying, how many kids get to do that,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Quite often he'd just take us all away, my brother or my sister, mainly me, he'd take. But it was such a beautiful time. It was very innocent. And I used to bedwet. And here's a story I'm going to admit to everyone is that my dad used to put me on the top bunk when he'd stop at a stop because he'd have a break and you'd have a rest and he'd take the next train back. And he put me on the top bunk and he said, "Listen, don't wet the bed, please." I said, no, I won't do it, Dad. I think I was about 5. And he goes, "Don't wet the bed, please, son, because there's a man sleeping underneath you." And next thing you know, I'm fast asleep and the guy is swearing at my dad and was swearing at me in Hindi. And I'm going, and my dad, "Oh no, he's wet the bed." And I was peeing on the guy below me. And it was hilarious. But people were just, they were just easy going. So, I mean, going back to the servants, we had a servant to cook, a servant to maintain the property, another servant that would take my mum around shopping to the market in a rickshaw and stuff like that. But in change of all that, they had like bungalows out the back. We had 4 bungalows, so 4 families stayed in the one, like in 4 different bungalows. But some families had 5, and one family, I remember, they had 10 of them staying in the one bungalow.
Wow.
And
wow,
it's
amazing, isn't it? That was my father was the same, from 13 kids, so it was a different time then. But that's amazing, isn't it? 10.
Yeah, it was just like in a little room. Like, it's amazing how they just cope with everything. It's a real innocent, beautiful time. I mean, my memories of my hometown was fantastic. We used to just run around free. Used to run around everywhere bare feet, just having just grounding and just being with nature and with one, and it was very innocent in those days.
When you got back here, when you got to here and you didn't have servants, what was that like suddenly for your whole family, not just you?
Yeah, well, my mum, luckily she knew how to cook. My dad didn't have a clue how to cook. And so she had to adopt the Indian ways, like of how to cook. And my dad, of course, insisted on curry and rice. And I remember my cousin taking me down to the fish and chip shop and he says, "You got to have fish and chips." I said, "What's that?" And then he took me down and he says, "Buy potato cakes." I go, "What's that?" And my dad gave me like 50 cents and my cousin goes, "Oh, that's too much." He says, "You'll get everything for 10 cents. 10 cents. You got so many chips and potato cakes." He's just going, "Oh my God."
10 cents.
10
cents for potato cakes, chips, and fish. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, not fish, but we, fish, I think it was an extra 20 cents or something for fish. So like under 50 cents, you get a massive feed. It was
you used to get 5-cent bags of mixed lollies, I think.
Yes,
something
yes,
like that.
I remember that.
White bag and be mixed lollies. So
That's
anyway,
right.
this was the time, but then, like you said, there was only 5 families. They were getting a huge influx in that time from Europeans.
Yes.
It was not just the English £10 palms. Someone said on here, Denmark was £10, so they were bringing lots of people from Europe. Right. And then after us, as we were going up, then there was the Italians and the Greeks. Yes. It was referred to as wogs, but that's what
right.
they were. And then after that, there was the Vietnamese. Remember
Correct,
that? The Vietnamese suddenly came in. But Australia was or is hugely reliant on migrants. And
I mean, look at the different culinaries that you have, the different types of foods that were introduced to Australia. Like, I mean, you can walk down the one street and you got 5 different categories of food, like different races of people and foods. It's just amazing. And that's what I liked about that.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, go on.
My mum was such a basic cook. She's a lovely thing, but there was like chips and this and that. It's so basic. And when I got one of my first jobs was as a kitchen assistant in a thing called Miss Maud's, and the chef didn't like me, and I was sitting there, and he said, "Go in the cool room and get me a zucchini," and I was like, "What the fuck is a zucchini?" I had no idea, nothing. Never heard of the word. I didn't know, and I went in there, and I'm looking at all these vegetables, and I'm looking at them thinking, I don't know half of these. I don't know what they are, and so if I come back with the wrong thing, he's going to go, "What?" And so I didn't know what to do. It's like my first job that he's got me to do. And I'm thinking, what do I do? And I walked down and said, "Oh, there's none in there." And he went, "What?" and he went in and he said, "What the hell are they?" I went, "Oh, there they are." And that's how I learned what a zucchini was. So that is multiculturalism. You know what I mean? I didn't have zucchinis in my life. Now I do.
I know. And go on, sorry.
No, that's it. Go.
Well, the language too, because I remember going to the butcher's with my dad, and we used to call goat's meat in India mutton. So he goes to the butcher and he says, "Can I have some mutton?" So the butcher gives him mutton. You know what mutton is here. So my
Yeah.
dad goes back 2 days later. He goes to him, "Oh, that meat you gave me, that mutton was really tough." And the guy goes, "Yeah, it's mutton, mate. It's all lamb." And he goes, "No, I want goat meat." And he goes, "That's what you got to ask for." He says, "Mutton here is all lamb." And so, we did. So it's like the language, getting used to the language. It was.
Did they actually have goat then? Were they able to supply goat?
It was pretty rare, but they did. Yeah, they did. But I think what happened for I felt sorry for as I've gotten older. I felt sorry for my brother and sister because my brother was 18, sister was about
Oh, that would have been
15.
hard.
So it was really hard for them because they understood the language, like people
Yeah.
swearing at them and stuff. Whereas I was
Yeah.
young, I integrated really well. I
Yeah.
had the accent happening. My brother and sister, till to this day, they have the Indian accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I've met one of your brothers. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they never lost it. But I remember even as my parents, I mean, my mum's still alive. She's 94. But my dad, when I used to talk to my mum, especially my dad, I'd have to break out into my Indian accent because he couldn't understand what I was saying. He says, "Son, slow down. You're talking too fast." So it's sort of like, oh, yeah, okay, But I was just like integrating. We integrated so well, really. I mean,
Yeah.
and as we came more inland, like we were probably a year and a half, 2 years in Mornington. Then we stayed 2 years in Chelsea, moving along the coast, and that was a really lovely time too. Going to schools. I went to Catholic schools too, mind
Yeah.
you, back then because parents were
Yes,
Catholic.
so did I,
So,
man.
yeah. So you know what it's like. You know how strict
Yeah.
they are. The
Yeah.
nuns giving you the bloody
Yeah.
the old cane, and you put your thumb up so you wouldn't get such a big hit. Your thumb breaks the head a bit. But
They used to have
it was
those
just-
leather straps.
yes,
Like a leather strap with more leather stitched together. So it was like the
Yeah.
song and then bang.
but you
Yeah.
remember the cane? The cane was bendable. So
No, I
it was
never
like,
got the cane. I just
Oh,
got
yeah.
the leather strap. The
The
cane was
cane.
before my time.
yeah,
Well, the cane
just-
was for the Indians. I was white. I was,
yeah. Yeah, it was I think for us, I mean, for me, I assimilated really well with the language. The language for me was amazing, like getting used to it all, and then go on.
Did you feel free now when you look back now? I know you had racist taunts and stuff, but what did it feel like growing up? Did you feel
Well,
freer than
as
life
I,
today?
as I got older, I mean, I felt really, really free. But as I got older, because I created a great array of friends, because mainly European people and other Asians. We'd all gel together because of our skin color at the time,
Yeah.
and you'd hang out together, and even the Asians, we would hang out with them, and because you were the minority, even going to high school. But what ended up happening was I ended up just I felt really safe. I did feel safe, and as we got camaraderie, I realised the Australian way was to I didn't even know what the terminology "take the piss" was, and then when I found it, and then I realised, hang on, you got to give it back. So I'm just going. But it felt like it wasn't. It was against my way of being brought up, my cultural way of being brought up, that you don't put shit on someone. But then I learned that if you put shit on someone, that means they like you and you like them. And I didn't get it, But then when we got the hang of it, and then all of us mates used to go out together, and we'd all put shit on one another. But dare anyone out of our group say anything about one of us, especially me being the only coloured one probably in the group. Oh, that was it. It was like, you can't say that to our mate. They go, but you're saying it. No. It doesn't work like that,
No, it doesn't. I don't know why. It just was really strange, but it didn't.
I know.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, you would have got that same aspect for yourself.
Oh, yeah. That's how it was. It was easier for me because I think I got the Aussie accent pretty quick. I was 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Within
yeah.
time I was fitting in. I did go back to Wales for about a year, and over there they were going me, "Oh, Skippy, you're Skippy," And then I came back to Australia and they're going, oh, you're Pommy, you're Pommy. So for about a year, I didn't really know where I belonged. I felt I belonged somewhere in the middle of the ocean between two countries. But it's difficult when you're a kid not fitting in,
Oh,
but you move on, you get over it, you learn, and
but I honestly feel that as time's gone on, I think in the younger years, when I was here, the earlier times, it was really easy to assimilate.
yeah.
Like it's sort of the way life is going at the moment. That they're creating a divide, and that's not how it was back then. It was we all worked it out for ourselves. It all
Yeah.
worked out,
I mean, we had Ford and Holden,
Yes.
but that wouldn't get you cancelled, wouldn't get you sacked.
No.
Just you're either Ford or Holden,
It's the same as the footy teams, I'm this
Yeah.
team, oh, you're that team, but we're still mates. It doesn't matter.
No,
And
no.
that's
And I think the other one is Azaria Chamberlain. I was
yes.
as a waiter then, and everyone was arguing, she did it, she killed it. No, it was the dingo. No, it was her. But even then, you didn't lose your job. You
I
didn't.
know.
You
I know.
didn't get thrown out of your family. You went, hey, I'm sorry, Brian, we can't invite you to the family dinner because we've heard that you think the dingo did it. So sorry,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah. It's so
You
wild.
didn't do it.
It was just like even just like as we know, 4 or 5 years ago, everything was just like, see you later, bye.
Yeah.
You go that
I
way, I'll go that
remember
way.
we had conspiracy theories. You go into a pub, there'd be an old guy going there. Yeah, we're all run by the Rothschilds and they control the wars. And you go, oh, yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, pat you on the shoulder and go, yeah, have a good night, mate, and give beer and go off. We didn't go,
I
oh my
know.
God, a conspiracy theorist, kick him out of the bar. It's just
Well,
you just
my
learn to be.
father told me, he said to me, I remember him saying to me, he was a lot older than me. I think he had me when he was 50. So he said to me, oh, son, the Rothschilds are and Rothschilds and the, what's the other family? The Rockefellers. He said,
Yeah.
they're the most richest families in the world, And I said, oh, who are they? I didn't have a clue who they were, But as time went on, now just the penny drops. And you just go, oh, right, this has been going on for years. And it's just like now, I don't know. I don't know whether I see it as racism, to be honest. Maybe because I came in an early stage. I just go, it's like they're just dividing everyone up, And I think that's really,
Let's
the
break that
device.
down because I want to get to mass migration and all the issues of
Yes.
the day that we can. But let's break it down. First off, let's talk about how they're teaching 5-year-olds to masturbate and one first sexual experience. Let me tell you, this is how innocent we were. I was 14 years old with a group of other 14s, and you're in that period where girls and boys, you're not having sex with each other yet. You just sort of hung out together.
Yes,
going like,
that's right.
I think we're going to become adults, and we're not kids, but we're not really adults. Let's just hang together and try and make sense of this. And one of the girls was reading a Vogue magazine, and she suddenly said, she goes, oh, I've got a clitoris. That's what she said. And we were like, what's that?
Yeah,
None of us knew. No, none of the crowd knew. And yet, even though at 14 we didn't know what a clitoris was, we all went on to have kids. We all went on to have plenty of sex. We figured it out.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We didn't need the government coming in and go, Michael, grab your left hand, grab your lube, grab your thing. Okay, you ready? All class, all together. That's it, kids. Come on. Once you get it done, you can have a glass of milk. We didn't do that. You didn't talk about it. It just, it was something else.
It just organically grew. Everyone experimented, and everyone were at different levels at different times. Like people, some people. I was a late bloomer anyway, but yeah. So
I was too nervous.
Look, I know for a fact that when we were younger in India, we used to play doctors and nurses.
Yeah.
But nothing of it. Like just go part of life. So. It's just
was strange, wasn't it? And it's scarred. So there's, I don't know. I remember I shouldn't say this because I'm going to see them. I won't go there. But the thing was, we were very, very innocent. There were things like Dad would take us down. I've said this before to people. Dad would take us down to the tip. And I'm sorry to all the Twitter people. Twitter's not allowing us to stream tonight. Dad would take us down to the tip with a trailer full of rubbish. And as he's unloading the rubbish, we're running over the tip in bare feet, refilling the trailer with all this treasure that we'd found. And he's coming up going, get the fucking shit out of us. You know, we come back with kittens and come back with half bikes and all sorts of stuff. It was no care. There was no signs anywhere. Careful this, get you. It was just, you know, and if you hurt yourself, well, the theory was if you hurt yourself, learn.
Yeah, exactly. You fall over, you go, I'm not going to do that again, you know, and I'll get up and just keep going.
Falling over, and your parents would leave them alone and go, you know, get up, come on, get up. And the kid would get up and run off.
I mean, my dad did give me a lecture when I was younger, when we came out here, that he said, oh, look, you know, son, don't listen to what these people are saying about you. You know, he didn't sort of say color, but he was from that older generation. But I knew what he was getting the gist of. And he said, look, you know, just ignore them. And it was so, but I said to him, look, Dad, I don't understand what they're saying. So it's not affecting me. And I think that came into my adulthood sometimes when, you know, someone is arguing with you and you just go, I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, here's the crux now, though. So you're from India, and we have a lot of Indians here now, and they're part of society. But now we're getting mass migration, and you actually have an issue with the mass migration of Indians or Pakistanis or all the thing.
It's just, for me, I went for the march on the 31st of August, and there were so many races of people there. And it wasn't to do with immigration. It's to do with what the government's doing on the immigration laws, you know? Like you have to have a cap. You can't just let all these. And what I feel sorry for is, like, I'm just thinking to myself, if I was an Indian and they promoted coming to Australia, you'd be going, oh, wow, what a great life. You know, it looks good. Little do they know they're coming into a disruptive area, because people over here going, hang on, you're going to take our jobs. And but what about the people on the street? You know, when I was marching, so many homeless people on the street, and I'm thinking, why aren't they looking after their own backyard first? You know, like, wouldn't you want to take the homeless off the street and put them into accommodation and look after them prior to what's happening out there? You know, like influx of people. If you got nowhere for anyone to stay, why would you want to bring any more people in?
That's right.
It bamboozles me. It's not like I'm against immigration. It's just the cap. Like, I mean, how many thousands does he want to bring in? Like, is some ridiculous amount?
Oh,
like,
well, the lawyer the person that reached out to me recently, he'd heard that they'd heard that it was the plan, the real secret plan, is to double the population of Australia.
What?
That's what I could be. I don't know if it's true, but that and there's so I can't vouch for that. This is just someone telling me. And they, what they said was, what I got told was, and this is why I did a rant about it today. I might see if I can, I'll just see if I can get the rant up. Hold on. So rather than doing it twice. So, oh yeah, here it is. I'll just, let me see. Just green. So, because this is actually, it's going off a bit. Can you see that?
Oh, I can't see. No, I can't see.
I can't see that. Hold on. I'll just add it to the studio. So this is now. I don't know. This is true. This is what someone's been telling me.
Someone deep in the Treasury has reached out to me.
I don't know what happened to my hand.
Wanting to talk about mass migration. Now, I don't have a problem with multiculturalism, but the amount of people coming into the country constantly, I do have a problem with, because I see destitution everywhere. I see people really struggling to survive. I see lots of homelessness. I see our young kids trying to get jobs. Culturally and economically, it seems insane. But this woman told me, showed me it from a different point of view. So here goes. I don't know if she's telling the truth, but I'm going to tell you what she told me, and you can make of it what you wish. She told me that the Treasury allocates puts a money dollar value on every migrant. Let's say that for every migrant, the economy will be boosted by $1 million, say. That, you know, that's like they're guessing. They're saying that's what it's going to be. We bring in this migrant and then by this certain time, 10 years from now, the economy will have prospered by $1 million because of that migrant. Now, of course, they're not all going to do that. Some are going to go in the dole. Others maybe going to start businesses. But anyway, that's what they've averaged it out to. Now, that's one. Now, you think of the amount that are coming in, thousands and thousands constantly. So that's a lot of money they're expecting our economy will benefit from in the future. And here's the rub. She claims that our government has already allocated that money. They're taking for granted it's coming in, they put it into the budget, and they've spent it. And that's why they can't stop it, because they've spent it. And so you can go into the streets and march. I've been in a few of those marches, and you can hit home, call out from an ideological point of view, from a cultural point of view, how this is insane, how they're destroying our culture, how our culture can't take this much change and stay how it is. And that's correct. Trouble is, they don't care. They plan, she said, to double the population of Australia. And it's not all going to be white people. So basically, the Australia you know now, every day we move forward, where more migrants come in, every day the culture we knew and loved gets further behind. Eventually, it'll be unreachable. And this is your politicians, who you love and think care for you, doing this. This is what she told me, and we're going to talk about it tonight in Café Locked Out at 8 o'clock tonight with a guy called Brian, who's also a migrant from India. And so we're going to have that chat tonight. But anyway, that's what I've been told. And she wants to remain anonymous, but tell me what you think.
So,
Wow.
so I did that today. That's going off. I just want to go before we talk about that. This is Aussie Truth Seeker. I believe it's a woman. Go to Caravan Park retired people are not staying in a tent like me. Go have a look. I haven't had a steak in over 6 months. Can't afford it more than ever now. This week, I'm outpriced from caravan parks. People cannot live on caravan parks. If we're on the road now, caravan parks used to be like, $10, $20 a night, something like that. Now they're 40, 50, 60 bucks a night. In the city, 70, 80, even 90 bucks a night.
Wow.
So don't think if you lose your house, you can go live in a caravan park. You cannot. I'm in Sydney at the moment. We're going to be leaving soon. And you go to a park or somewhere to do, and all the parks come with gates now. They come in 9, 10 o'clock. They lock the parks up. So how they're handling the homeless thing is to try just move it away. Everyone tries to get it away. So yeah, this is where we are. But back to that video that is saying, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it just blows me away what you just said. It's obviously driven by greed and money, and I can't believe that they've already spent their credit.
Yeah, I guess it's like allocating it,
it's like it's at a point of no return. Actually, they've committed and they've just gone. We're going ahead with it. Doesn't matter how many petitions we get, how many people march down the streets and everything. I mean, like I was a big marcher for the COVID period, or the COVID period. We all were, and it was just amazing, the camaraderie and everything. But you could just feel like, at one stage, I think on the 31st, I just went, is this really worth it? Like, it's beautiful to see so many people there. And I'm just going, but is it really going to make a difference? It's the same with writing, about the WHO pandemic treaty. I signed up for that. There was so many signatures, but it's like, we didn't see that. We're just going to go ahead and do it. And and the immigration
like in Victoria.
Exactly.
We said no. The whole of Australia said no. 60% or 70%, some states said no, and Labor's doing it. And and not serving up.
And the crazy thing was, I heard on the weekend someone told me that Jacinta Allen went over to China, and she's already made the deal and said, "We'll give you back your money because the state, Victoria State, went so much into debt that she's done a deal with China and said, we'll get your money because we're going to bring the treaty back through the councils. What? So what's
That's
the
what
use
the
of?
councils are kicking up about. They're saying,
Yeah, and some councils aren't going to do that. They said we're not going to collect any money on your behalf. So it's wild times, you know. Like, I mean, as you said, you know, we know that all of us said no. Majority of the country said no. How can you? So what's the use of having a referendum? I mean,
that's right. That's
you
right.
know, like,
Can I ask, let's go back a bit. How
Yeah.
have you seen Australia change in your time in the country, in your time in the lucky country? And you turned up, you know, as someone who was a minority, and
Yes.
minorities cop it. So how have you seen Australia change in the time you've been here?
Well, I remember like growing up in my teen years and finding out that, you know, you could really, if you wanted to. I mean, a lot of people I knew that saved up their money and just bought a house. It wasn't an issue to buy a house. It was pretty easy, you know. But as time went on, and it was the lucky country, you know, on that aspect that whatever you wanted to do, you could do. If you said, oh, I want to buy a boat or I want to save up for a car, you get the car, you get the boat, you get the home. But now it's sort of like, what happened? Like, I just saw the change. I think, you know, I moved up here and I felt early 2000 actually. And I realized that the gate had shut behind me because things were going up. Like within 2 years, the property that I live on, you know, it doubled the amount. And I'm going, I couldn't afford that. You know, like there's no way known I could afford that. And then as time's gone on, and especially with the COVID era, you know, like with the lockdowns, this whole street that I live in, it's worth over $1 million. It's like, what? It's absurd, you know, and that's why I see that people, you know, then no one's getting a chance. And I just don't, I've traveled a bit, and every country I've been to, you need to be a resident in that country to buy property or buy a house or something, you know, like even in India. But as you know, like a lot of people, what they do is they get friendly with people within that country, and they say, you buy this house on my behalf, we'll put it in your name. But that backfires too, because then the people just go, hang on, it's in my name. And then they wake up to it and they go, well, you don't own the house, I do. And but Australia, I don't get it. Why does Australia sell land and houses to people like that, not from here? I don't get it.
No.
You know, I remember living in Glen Waverley prior to moving up here in the 90s, and I knew a lot of the auctions around that area. There was a lot of Asian people moving into that area, and there were people bidding for people overseas. They're on the phone saying this is how much it is, and they're going up and up and up. So you couldn't compete. So the rich people are just buying out all these. But how does that happen?
Yeah,
I just don't understand it. I mean, just baffles me.
Here's Kerry. Kerry's another great Kerry. I should say, Kerry, you should send your email. I should get you on with Brian, because Kerry's a great guy too. And he's the same, you know, Asiatic backstory somewhere. And he too. And it's not that he's against migrants, it's just the number. Because what's happening is a destruction of our culture.
Totally.
You can't have this many people. We don't like, I think Cartland's daughter, I interviewed her, and I said to her, what do you think of Australians' culture? And she just looked at the camera and said, we don't have one. We're just a load of people on a rock doing stuff.
It is true. Like that. It's losing the culture. Like, you know, what I can't say. I remember like all of us used to have a dig at one another, you know. You can't, you know, like they used to call me a curry muncher, my mates, you know. And I'd just go, you bloody Aussie, you know, you pie eater or whatever, you know, or you bloody, you know, you just call them, you know, you just say you're lasagna eater or whatever, you know. But it's just banter. Like now, what is politically incorrect to say that? That was camaraderie. It's mateship.
It was bonding.
Yeah, totally.
If you could be rude to each other like that and laugh, it meant you were mates. They didn't get
that's right.
That was different. I just want to go back to one thing, though. You said how people could buy a house. I saw a girl in a march today, or a picture from a march, and what it said was, my father could buy a house and support a wife and kids in the house.
Yes.
And they could pay off a house on one pay. Now, two people working can't afford rent on a house.
Yeah, I know.
Let alone this. So this is where we're going. But but back to one of my great friends when I was in Perth, I haven't seen him for years, was he was Singaporean but from Chinese origin, right?
Yes.
And we used to go out together, and he was a really sensitive poet. He's a really beautiful
Right,
looking
yeah.
guy, sensitive poet. And I used to go out and I said, mate, if anything happens, just do your karate stance, because the skips, they're just going to take for granted that you're fucking Bruce Lee. If I do it, yeah, come on, show us what you got. But he looked so fucking Bruce Lee-ish. He went, oh, okay, oh yeah. Next time.
Yeah.
You know, and he couldn't do anything. He had no martial arts skills at all. Right, you got it, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. When Bruce Lee was around, that's right. You wouldn't pick on an Asian then, would you? Like an Asian looking, oh yeah, Bruce Lee. Yeah, it was. We used to go down. I remember we used to go down to little Chinatown down in Burke Street, and watch all the the Bruce Lee movies. It was so cool, and we wear those stupid bloody black slip-on shoes that he wore, and they had plastic soles, and you'd slide everywhere. They're bloody lethal. They were just horrible. We thought, oh, Bruce Lee. Everyone was wearing Bruce. Well, you just do stuff like that when you're teenagers, it was so harmless. But I remember just going back to the culture of and you'd know this, Michael, going back to the culture. But when you go into the city, if there's just you and your mate, or just one, even on your own, you could walk. And in those days, they used to have the skinheads and the sharps. Do you remember that? The Sharpies
right.
and the skin,
Yep.
yeah. And, you could walk past, they had the Melbourne Sharps and all that there in the city square, the old city square. I don't know whether you remember that, but the old city square.
Oh, I didn't grow up in.
No,
Melbourne,
you grew up in
so-
Adelaide, didn't you?
No, Perth.
Perth.
We moved. My family travelled for a long time. Townsville. They just
Oh,
got
really?
the wanderlust. Oh yeah, I think they got here. They stayed in Adelaide till I was about 7, and then something happened to them. They got the wanderlust, and for the next several years, they just go to a town. Dad'd get work. I'd be in a town. I remember one town, Wyndham. This is Can I tell you a story? This is hilarious, man.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Sorry to anyone who's heard it. So Mum used to throw me in any Catholic school she could get. And the higher up you went in Western Australia, what they would do, because they didn't have enough kids, they'd throw so you'd have mixed classes, like 1, 2, 3 in one class, 4, 5, 6 in another class. So I was in the 4, 5, 6 class, I think.
Wow.
There was me, one other white kid, and all these Aborigines, and they were pure blood Aborigines. There was just all these. It was like piano keys, and I was the white keys. That's how it was. And we just got on. We played. We didn't think anything of it. We were kids, it was just coming on.
Yeah.
Anyway, what they had, we had a nun teaching us, and she was doing art, and she gave us a piece of graph paper like this, and she said, draw. Anyway, I'm looking around at these Aboriginal kids, and they are drawing like, I'm going like, oh my God. They're drawing just amazing drawings. It's just it's just like effortless for them. And I was thinking, because I couldn't draw for shit.
Yeah.
And so I draw this man's face using the squares, and that's all I did. It looked pathetic. I was embarrassed by it, but that's the best I could do. Anyway, the nun comes down. She's all in a habit. She's walking through the kids, and then she sees my picture, and she grabs it, and she walks to the front, and I'm like, what is she going to do? I thought she was going to shame me.
Yeah.
And instead she stood up and she said, look how clever this white boy is. That's the word she used.
Did she?
And I was like, because I was looking down at like the Mona Lisa next to me on one side and Raphael on the fucking other, and there's some other kid like a Van Gogh over there. And my thing looks like, like a failed attempt at, I don't know, and looked like a 2-year-old drew it. And she goes, look how clever he is. And I couldn't, because I was young and I didn't know what racism was, I couldn't get my head around it. I suppose maybe as I was in grade 4, I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah, right.
Later on, I realized this nun was a good nun, but she had a filter over her eyes. And the filter was, white boy does well, black boy doesn't. So it didn't matter what the black boys were doing, this white boy was going to be cleverer than him. And that's how the racism was then. I'm not saying everybody was like that, but that's how I understood what that was. and she couldn't see how clever the Aboriginal kids were, how creative. You know what I mean? They probably went on to be like some major Aboriginal artists.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
That's right.
I'm in the bus go, yeah, I'm the clever one. And so it's, yeah, I'm so clever. And so this is how it was, and I saw it. I remember my dad, he was in Port Hedland, I think, and he turned up for a job, and they said, "You ever done any work on the roads before? We need someone to work on the roads." And he went, no. He goes, "Okay, well, we're going to make you the foreman." And he put him in charge of 12 Aboriginal workers. And he never did the job. He didn't know anything. But that was sort of the culture.
Yeah, I
I'm not
know.
saying it's good or bad. I'm saying it was that. But things have changed. And so look about the changes now, like even I don't know, because I'm not black. And they say that white people don't know what racism is. But that Indian guy in Parliament said that. So we don't know what racism is, but we know what being ostracized is. So how was it growing up with you? How much racism did you cop as you grew up? And at one point, did it stop and you thought, gee, I don't cop it anymore? Or do you still cop it?
Well, I'm just going to regress a little bit, go back to India, and you just jogged my memory what you said about white person is the white boy is better than the black boy. So we're in India, they have that caste system within the Hindu religion.
Yeah.
But because the Anglo-Indians were really a formed race of people in India, so when the British came over and took over, they were slowly integrating. So what they did was they would get the soldiers to marry an Indian woman, and they'd pay them quite well, like give them, like 100 gold coins or like $100 worth of gold coins, just one, to say, marry this Indian woman. We want to have an interrace of people here to take over when we leave. Like, so we'll have people that are like say, for instance, the Anglo-Indians that are like white, but dark looking. They could take over. So what ended up happening was, I know this for a fact, that I remember stories that I'd hear adults talking about, that, oh, don't worry, send your son over and he'll get the job. No worries, So if I was Indian and you're Anglo-Indian and you and I went for the job and I'm highly qualified, you would get it because you're Anglo-Indian and because your dad's friend was doing the interviews. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. So that was a racism then. So I mean, and I remember my mum saying to my father, we need to get out of this country because it's in the 60s, like it's going to get worse for the Anglo-Indians because the Indians don't like us for what has happened to them by us and by the British, and the days back then. And I didn't see it, but my mum foresaw it, and luckily we came here. But as I was getting older here and integrating more, I think it was probably when I went to high school, I realized I was safe because we still had the racism there, but it was not so bad, like it was just, there was quite a big melting pot when I went to high school. When you go to a Catholic school, it's still a bit of racism, but it wasn't as bad. But as we got older, I realized, it's still racism, but at the same time, we're integrating a lot more into it. And I left school in Form 4, which is year 10, as they say it now.
Oh, same.
But, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just actually. They told me
Yeah.
They told my father they don't see Michael having any academic future. They think he'd be
Oh,
better
really?
in the workforce. Yeah, it's too disruptive.
Oh,
Not that I burned anything or broke things, but I was just my. So I left. And all these people said, oh, we're leaving too. But it ended up, I was the only one of me and one other, I think, So,
I ended up working in a screen door factory and I was 17 at the time. And my weekly pay was $56 a week. And I thought I was doing all right. When I did a bit of overtime, I'd make 65 and I thought, wow, man, I'm rich, So it's just like, it's just wild. But I wanted to always do like a trade, do an apprenticeship, and I never got around to it. And as time went on, I realized I was as young as I was a very social person. And I used to just want to talk to people and know what was going on in their lives, or, how can I help them in any way? And it was just quite an emotional time too, because I realized, I think it dawned on me when I was 18 that I'd been abused here when I was 9. And I just went, and like you shut it out as a kid. You don't want to know about it. So one day something triggered me, and I just went, "Oh shit! That actually wasn't a dream. It actually happened." And, and so, but I kept it to myself till I was in my, I think it was 28, and then someone said something about them being abused, and I said, "Oh shit, that happened to me, man," And then another girl that was there said, "Oh, I know other people that it's happened to," and we just started to open up this can of worms, and it was getting easy for me to talk. I said, "Oh shit, I'm not the only one. Why do I keep the secret till I'm 28?" But it just so that want to help people, because I was starting to help myself. So because of my abuse, I wanted to help other people, not that were abused, but just wanted to people please. You want to please people. But it was interesting. It was an interesting science. So as I go through life right now, it's easy for me to talk about this because it's about strengthening myself on that level and loving me more, and opening up a lot more to it. But it's an amazing journey. But but growing up as you got older, when you bought your first car, you felt really like, oh shit, I don't have to rely on anyone. You want to go to the shop and get some. What did you want to get? I'll drive you there. It's like any excuse to just get in the car and drive.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was just more practice, and you take all your friends, and it was just a really beautiful time. But getting back to that story I was saying in the city square with the Sharpies and the skinheads, you could walk past them, not they would never pick on you. They'd probably say things to you, but there would never be this, let's get him 10 on to 1. It was never like that. It was just either
that
1 on
was
to
different.
1. I know.
That never happened. If there was a fight, it was 1-on-1.
Yeah, that's right. No one jumped in, but now it's 10 on 1.
Yeah, I don't understand what's happened, but in school, like I had a lot of fights in school because I was loud and small.
Yeah.
So, and not a lot, but maybe 6. But it was always 1-on-1. Everyone would get around. Even some of the teachers would get around and watching, trying to make sure until they got caught by number.
Really?
Oh yeah. They'd be like, they're looking in. Not that I was a great fighter, but I knew I was going to lose, so I just thought, well, I'm going to fight like a bastard because I want to hurt them at least. But it was always 1-on-1, and they would never do 2-on-1, 10-on-1.
No.
This is something new.
This is it's more than now. They got weapons and stuff. It's like, wow, this is machetes. Yeah, those bins really work well, don't they?
Yeah. I think the kids are using them. Wayne from What the Fuck said the kids use them like ATMs. So the good guys put them in, and they come and they go, "I'll have 3, thanks." I'm off to Broady Shopping Centre.
Yeah, I reckon what they should do is have little trapdoors for the homeless to sleep in there. So they got somewhere to sleep for the night, because it's, what a waste of money, seriously. Like,
what do you think now of the culture now, of the country now? I mean, we just, like, we owe $1 trillion to someone. They haven't told us who it is. I'm guessing it's China.
Yeah, I'd say it would be. Yeah, I just look. I feel that the culture has gone. Like the larrikinism and just it's some sort of. It hasn't come overnight. It's come over a period of time. And, the word politically incorrect, I never heard of it, and then all of a sudden, what does that mean? They're like, oh, that means you can't say this. I'm going, really? Seriously?
Do you remember where it started? Do you remember when it started and we laughed at it? It was manhole covers.
Oh, yes.
Remember, it was manhole covers. And they said, oh, no, we're not allowed to call them manhole covers. That's sexist. They're like,
oh, that's right.
And we laughed it off, but we laughed these things off like, yeah, whatever. But that, yeah, whatever, actually became us getting entrapped by political correctness, which is
that was the start. And the same with the wolf whistle.
Oh, I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you did. Can you do it? I can't do it. Can you do wolf whistle? Wow, I would love to do that.
Yeah, but
ask the ladies watching, how many ladies here are watching, or women watching, would be offended if you're walking down the street and you heard just one guy give you a wolf whistle? How many would be offended and how many would be pleased? Because I remember my mum coming home once. She's probably in her 30s. She was so happy because someone had wolf whistled at her.
Oh, really? Yeah, it was like, I mean, I know girls that I went to school with, and as we left school, I'd be walking with them and they'd get wolf whistled, and I was with them as friends, and they go, thanks, wave up to the guys up in the building sites or whatever.
Here we go, Tracy.
Good on you, Tracy.
Nettie, not offended. Just keep them coming. Alicia Felicia, who I think might be a trans person, is not offended.
Oh, good on
Ali
you.
Prowl is all right. Yeah. I mean, at our age, we'd be like, oh, God, thank you. Can I give you some?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's so true. But, like, all that stuff has been lost.
Look at this. This is Jennifer McLeod wolf whistle. I kicked my heels up on my wheelchair. Oh, that's hilarious, man. That's hilarious. Not at all, says Deanne. She'd find it funny. I'd be wrapped. Just love the whistle. What the fuck? You want your mum to be hit on in the wild? Yeah, man. I love my mum to think that she's sexually basically viable. Yeah, she'd love it. Yeah,
I think that's
we survived that, man. It's not that offensive.
Well, everyone agrees with us.
Penny, stuff like this. We might have a trial on Rumble, but coming through. I saw a news clip from London saying everything. Oh, Tracy, she thinks it would be great. COVID. Karen misses it. Never offered me. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, Brian, give Leandra a wolf whistle. There you go, Leandra. Joanne, I would be flattered. Trans, get it right, not offended. Oh my God, look, everyone's coming in. The only person who's offended is the troll.
Oh, I don't even know what their name is.
Oh, don't worry. They come up down again. They're still coming in. Look, I would be happy with a second look. I have a friend, George Zellen. Now he's about this much taller than me, about this much better looking than me. He's just got a real charm about him, and he just really attractive guy, very clever. He's just dropped dead, Yeah. And but he's my age. We're like a month apart. And the last time I saw him, he said, I was walking down Chapel Street, and I've noticed that the girls don't look at me anymore. I'm too old. I used to get looks. I don't get any looks. But I'm walking down. I got a few of the gay guys walking towards me. So, I'm not gay, but, he just walks, puts on a bit of a strut. Goes, they didn't look. Goes, even the faggots don't look at me anymore. I'm finished, man. No one looks at me anymore.
All those sayings, the horse's hoof, and like it's just like
Sissy would be nice. Give Sissy a wolf whistle and we'll move on. You get ready, Sis? I actually love it. I think it's a lovely sound. You know what I mean? It's such a good sound.
I know, and there's a lot of people that don't know. I think the older generation know how to do it still.
Yeah, that's hilarious. We should do this. I might do it as a rant. Let's do the wolf whistle test. I might get you doing it and put it up. I would love everyone's going, look, do you know what I think? Can I really want to hear more, but I'll tell you a story. This is absolutely a true story.
Yeah.
I worked at a nursing home, and you've been a carer, so you know this. And this was a nursing home where it was mostly old women, and most of them had their marbles, but they had Parkinson's, they had MS, they had they're just really old, but they were cool. I was working with old people was cool. Yeah. And anyway, I come in and there was always this guy there. He's a really great guy. I really liked hanging out. When you work together with him, he's really great to work with. Because I used to do agency, I used to go all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, every time I came there, I used to love it, think, I hope he's on, have a great shift. Anyway, I'd been there a few times, hadn't seen him. So I pull the RN apart and I go, so let's say his name's Tom. I go, where's Tommy? He's on holiday. And she goes, oh, Tommy, I got to tell you. And she goes, we had 4 women approach us as a conglomerate. And they said, Tommy is a bit too overly friendly when we're being showered. So they approached Tommy and told him and said, listen, you can either quit and nothing will be said, or you can stay here and we'll have to ring the police in. And so he left. And she says, do you know what happened next? I said, no. She goes, 2 days later, 12, over a dozen women approached them and said, where's Tommy? He was the best.
Oh, that's a classic.
And that's what's happened to wolf whistling. The vocal minority who should probably just buy a vibrator, go somewhere and get it out of their system, close down wolf whistling, and us easygoing, or the vast majority of easygoing people going, it's outlawed, what? We're going to jail for wolf whistling, what? And we lose it. And you can see, look at this. Mary, I don't think you've ever commented before. Mary CW, I would love a wolf whistle. Kerry's laughing his head off. And there's non-stop.
Yeah, and you remember when I used to drive the cars in those days, you knew the difference of all the cars because they're all different shapes, and
just before we go there, I just want to say, whoever is Hamburger Halpler here was supportive. We can be rude to each other, we can be this, but you're just a nasty little person, so we're banning you. If you want to come back, just learn something called decency, mate. Decency. See how you go with it. Apart from that, mate, you are gone.
Beautiful. But it's similar to
anyway, what you were talking about.
So I was saying, similar to the wolf whistle, you drive by in the car and see a nice girl, whatever, short skirt, whatever, a really good looking person, and you toot at them and you just keep going, and then they usually wave to you, and there was no harm in that. You can't even do that now.
No.
Look at that.
Pretty sure
wolf whistle is the ultimate compliment.
Hey, man, it was just so cool. I had one once when I was like young. I still remember.
Oh, really?
Some woman did it for me. It was just like, wow, I got a wolf whistle. I mean, because it's a real thing, It's the sound. So, and it's interesting how they've done this because they're only small. But what it did to men was saying men are bad. If you wolf whistle, you're bad. So don't do that.
Yes.
So suddenly the men don't have this sort of way, this gentle way to woo a woman. Because, if you work in nursing homes, you'd meet these people and these people would go, oh, yeah, he chased me for the whole summer. The whole summer he was banging on. So finally I decided I'll go out with him and now we'll be married for 60 years. Having a man wooing a woman was allowed because the woman tested the man. I'm going to put him there. I'm going to treat him rough to test him. To see how much he likes me, if he just wants to get his end in or he actually loves me. So she tested the man. And then they have this long life together. Now the guy's got one thing. Swipe left, swipe right. That's it. That's all the wooing he's going to get.
Well, I've never been on any dating sites, but I get where you're coming from. I've got a few friends that have been, but I don't. They trying to encourage me to get on it, and I said, look, it's just not my style, because I'm from the old school. I want to meet someone face to face. Even going out in the old days to see a band play or to nightclubs or anything, you always get to meet someone. Yeah. And
actually, out of the two of us, hands up if you're single.
Oh.
That's from Stevenson. Now, the thing is, why are you single?
I mean, I've been through some great relationships. They've been fantastic, but I think I went through a little bit of a rough time a few years ago during COVID era. But look, I've come out of it really well because in the sense that, the person that was in my life at the time, it was time to just separate and go our own way. But, no animosity, no anger. I mean, I healed a lot through that actually because I just send love to them every day now, like there's no hate or anything. The only thing I hate is the lawyer. I've got to get over that. I got to get over that. But no. And I know a couple of my friends that are really passionate about me said, "Oh, don't you hate that person?" I said, No. I said, it actually said, "Oh, don't you hate women?" I said, "Why would I hate women?" I said, "Some of my closest friends are women." I said, "No, we're all people at the end of the day." I said, "It doesn't deter me at all." I said, "No, it's not." So in that aspect, I've kind of taken a leaf and I'm just rejuvenating myself and falling in love with myself. I'm a big believer in loving yourself because, if you don't like yourself or love yourself, you can't love others or like them.
That's right.
If someone said to me,
right.
If someone if I said to you, Michael, can you give me 3 things that you really like about yourself? And you should just go bang, And that's how I feel. I can just rattle off 3 things that I like about myself, But a lot of people, a lot of people don't know that, and it's a big believer in it's self-respect when you love yourself because you set good boundaries with yourself because, a lot of people inadvertently don't realize that they're being abused by some of their friends that take advantage of them, and you have to set boundaries and say, no, I'm not putting up with that, because I wouldn't do that to you. So why should I allow you to do that to me?
Yeah.
And, but look, the main thing is my thing is like, I come from, like wanting to understand both sides. So, I did a big meditation thing about 6 years ago where it's a 10-day Vipassana, where it's silent meditation. And something really profound came out of that. And that was like, they tell you when you're meditating to not be attached to the emotion. So the emotion, whatever comes through is like a river. So just watch it flow by. And then, you'll get sadness and happiness and resentment and anger. Don't get attached to it. Just let it go. But it's an art. Sorry?
It's called life.
Yeah, that's right. People have different views and they call it different things. And that's what you have to respect other people's values and views. It's pushing your own views onto other people. I don't know about that, I just think just be open. That's how we all came across, especially in your time and my time when we're immigrating into this country and trying to mesh together. And we knew we were the minority. It's like that, let's try and work things out. Who wants to fight? No one wants to fight.
No, that's discourse.
It is.
Chat.
It's totally.
Let's find a way to talk our way through it. So everyone, you just lessen the pain.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
that's right. And if you don't, it's like just let's agree to disagree, or let's agree to say you're right in your way and I'm right in my way. And that's the way to be. But sometimes people just take it to that extreme, and I think it's just being antagonized by certain people out there that like just the media. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The MSN. But like 5 years ago, I got rid of my TV. It's the best thing I've ever bloody done. I don't have a TV. I don't have a TV at home, and I know my family.
I can vouch for his house. There's no TV. Yeah,
it's like they're going, "Why'd you get rid of the TV?" I said, "Well, because I don't watch it. I don't like what's on it." And now when my family come, it's so good because they play games, and they play jigsaw like they do a jigsaw puzzle. A lot more interact. We play music. I've got a turntable here, and my nephew loves playing records.
You got the big fire pit outside?
Yes, that's right. So we have a big bonfire and stuff. I've got 13 acres here. So I'm just laughing, It's just beautiful being out in nature, looking at the stars. I'm really blessed. I mean, every day I've been here 25 years, and every day I just go, I'm blessed. I really thank what I've got, from where I was. Like I remember my first trip back to India in 1986. I was 25 and I backpacked around Europe for 3 months. And at the time, so Michael, I worked for the railways for 20 years.
That's right.
So Vic Wright. So I went through the dark blue uniform, the blue uniform, and the green uniform, which they call the Gumbies, So 20 years I worked at Caulfield Station, and then I ended up at North Melbourne Station, so the western suburbs, And I'll tell you what, talk about multiculturalism, because I was in, the eastern suburbs are predominantly like Anglo. And then I went to North Melbourne, and in those days, do you remember the wrestlings? the wrestling they used to have. They used to have it at a place called Festival Hall.
Yeah.
So when I went there in 81, they were doing the wrestling there then. You see all these, it was just wild, all these rough guys going down there, and at the end of the race, I'll get you, they're all doing this shit on the platforms. But it was just amazing, like just that whole era of being in the railways. And so I saw the world because I had so much annual leave up my sleeve. So I backpacked around Europe. And,
what was that like then?
Oh,
seeing Europe for the first time.
Oh, Europe was just brilliant. Like you get a Interrail pass and you just ride in the destinations you want to go. It was £95 back then, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you're right where you want to go. So I went all around. Like I went from England to France to Holland to Germany to Switzerland to Italy to Greece to Turkey, then back to Greece, and then I flew out to Thailand. And when I went to India, it was weird because when I went to India, I went, oh my God, did we really live here? Like,
oh my God, really?
It just changed so much. When I got home, I kissed my mum and dad. I said, thank you so much for taking us away from that place. Like, I mean, it was just because we didn't have the lifestyle. We wouldn't have had the lifestyle that we had here,
Yeah.
So I was so much gratitude, there was so much gratitude just pouring out of my heart, and I just went, oh God, I love my parents, for what they did. It was there in some, my mum's insight and my dad's didn't want to go. My dad didn't want to come. My dad wanted to stay there.
I did.
Because, you think about it, imagine leaving, he was in his 50s. So it's, you kind of settle. Like, it's like someone saying to me now, let's go and live in Germany. I'll be going,
at our age would be hard.
I know. It'd just be heartbreaking. So they sacrificed a lot.
Can you see the comment? Brian, the white t-shirt and green jumper is the same uniform as the Fulham prisoners.
Yeah. That's right. Well, it's funny that you say that, Michelle, because I used to work at the Youth Detention Centre.
That's right, you did.
And they had green overalls they used to wear. So if the boys ran out, you'd know, oh, hang on, that's one of the kids from the Youth Detention Centre. But I worked for the state government for 37 years, like I left after 20 years because Uncle Jeff made me an offer I couldn't refuse in 98. And he said, look, we're going to pay you all out because we're going to privatise the rail system, the Met system. Yeah. Oh, and I think you guys got privatised too, the tramways, didn't they?
I wasn't there then. No, but the trams got done. Yeah, the trams got done as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I thought, how am I going to, I'm not going to earn this sort of money. So I thought, well, I was, 30, I was 38 at the time. And I went, yeah, let's do it. So, and I did it and, that sort of boosted me. And then when I came up here, I owned a cafe up here for a couple of years. As you know what it's like to own a cafe. Nothing but just busting your ass and getting nowhere. When I realized I was getting 20 cents an hour, I went, nah, this is not for me.
Yeah, that's the truth. People don't realize it. They see, oh, you're the owner. Oh, he must be a millionaire. No,
yeah, that's right.
I'm earning less than everybody I employ.
That's right, exactly. Because I was eating. If it wasn't for me owning that place, I wouldn't be able to eat. Like I was eating at my cafe. And it's quite a prominent cafe here, and it's doing so well right now. I mean, the new owners are just brilliant. There's it's a real local hub for all the local people. And I mean, I can give it a plug, can't I? Can I say it?
Yeah, knock yourself out, man.
Yeah, it was Harvest Cafe. So that's really big here in Daylesford for all the locals.
Castlemaine?
No, it's in Daylesford.
Daylesford.
So I'm kind of out of
Harvest Cafe.
Yeah, Harvest Cafe. Yeah.
Harvest Cafe, Daylesford. Yeah,
and so I live 10 minutes out of Daylesford at a little place called Porcupine Ridge. There's no porcupines here, of course. but anyway, so it's a beautiful little hamlet, and I love it here. The community here are really brilliant. But in saying all of that, and then I had the cafe, and of course it bombed out. And then a friend of mine said, "Oh, you'd be good as a youth worker." And I'm going, "Really? I don't know." So I ended up applying. And in those days, you just put your resume in. I went to the front desk at the detention centre, which is not far from here. And I just put my resume in, and they said, yeah, you'll probably get a call. And then this lady gives me a call, but I missed the call. So I rang them back and said, look, I've got a missed call. She's gone home. I said, well, you're doing the intake on Monday. Today's Friday. They go, oh, just come up. Don't worry about it. And I rocked up on Monday and said, oh, yeah, come in. And we did a 6-week training course. And then I worked there for another 9 years. And then that was DHS. And then I ended up hopping across to disability care.
There's a Deanne says great cafe and great place
Deanne,
for locals and the best
Deanne
staff.
works there. Deanne works
she
there.
works there. Oh, you're biased, Deanne. You're biased. give her a wolf whistle, Brian.
I saw her today and I told her about tonight. She says, oh, great, I'll get online.
But this is, your place is great. The thing is, when you're talking about the things you do, though, you know, about you're talking about the sharps and stuff, people going to the footy, the wrestling. This was culture.
Yes.
This was culture. And our culture has changed. You know, let's go back to multiculturalism for a while.
Yes.
I went to Broken Hill with Cal, and we loved it. It was like going back in time to the 1950s because they don't renovate the houses, and they're all like 1950s houses, and except that they've got a bit of artwork on them, but you really feel you're going back in time. But when I talked to some people who were there, who'd been there multi-generational, they said, we've always been multicultural. The Afghans used to come up and bring the water. So they had Muslims bringing them water. If it wasn't for Muslims, Broken Hill wouldn't survive. They would have died of thirst. So the Muslims saved Broken Hill from dying of thirst. You get that? The Islamic people saved Broken Hill. And they didn't go there and bomb them. They didn't strap a suicide vest to the camels. They brought water. They brought life and creativity, and they helped. And they're still there. They had the Croatians, Yugoslavians, and all the other races you could think, because there was a chance of gold or working in the mine. And so they would all come and they would all get on. And that town is like seen as the basically fundamentally Australian. This is old Australia, Broken Hill.
Yeah.
Old Australia, Broken Hill, older than any of us are alive, is an absolute bastion of multiculturalism and shows that it works. They all work together and they get on. And I think that proves that that's what it is, because I like multiculturalism.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I like the different races. I love the fact that if they had a march against racism or a racist march, which they aren't racist march, it's just against mass migration.
Of course it is.
They get an Uber to the march, and they get home, they order Uber Eats, and that's so unfortunately this is what we do. Or they go, I'm going to go down to have this massage with this Vietnamese girl. She walks on my back. It's the best. We all get together. Even the Vietnamese that Fraser led in after the World War One, after Vietnam War.
Yeah.
They set up Victoria Street in Melbourne. And Victoria Street, everyone
Richmond.
went there. Yeah. Let's go get some Vietnamese food. Bang, they go there, and they bring that flavor. But what it is now is there's too much, and it's been rammed down our throats. And what the real problem we have in this country, because the politicians are doing it, this is what I think is the real problem. You're a social guy. You've had lots of friends over your time. Have you ever had a friend, woman or man, whose partner was being unfaithful with them, and you knew and they didn't? Have you ever had that situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had that situation where you finally decided to tell them because you loved them, and it was very hard, and all they did was not believe you and kick you out of their life? That's what's happened to me.
Well, it kind of like, so for me, it was male because the female was my friend, and the male, I knew what was happening with the male, and I said to the male, I'm going to give you a month to tell your partner that I know what you're up to, and they said, yeah, all right, no worries, it's none of your business. And I said, yeah, it is, because that person you're seeing is my friend, And anyway, it ended up that my friend found out before the guy did it, and she said, "How you betrayed me?" I said, "Oh, actually, this is the story." And she said, "Oh, I didn't know that." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I was giving that person the chance. I didn't want to tell you. I wanted them to tell you, And they said, "Well, I found out." And I said, "Well, did he tell you?" She goes, "No, I found out through someone else." I went, "Oh, that's not how it was meant to work." But no, I didn't get kicked out of their lives.
But no, that's because she knew. But when I've had this happen once, and I've had another friend happen to them. What they do is the person you tell, who's a friend, suddenly cuts you out of their life, and they do
Yes.
that
Yes.
because they don't want to lose what they have. They've got this
Yes.
relationship, good or bad. Maybe they've got kids or whatever. They got a house. They got a future. They got dreams. They think this is the road I'm on with this person, and they know if that's true, that's all going to be gone. Eventually, they find out because the truth comes out, and the relationship usually breaks, and then they come back.
Yes.
This is what I think is happening to the majority of Australians. They
Yeah.
don't want to face the fact that the government is fucking them.
Oh,
To their face, they're going, "Oh, we got your back. We're really great with the economy. We're building jobs. Our economy's doing so well." But behind your back, they're not serving you at all. And people don't want to face that, even though it's in their face, because they're going to have to deal with the fact, I thought I was going this way, and now that's not going to happen.
well,
So what happens?
it's funny. It's funny that you say that. I relate to what you're saying because working for the state government for 37 years, I was indoctrinated big time, right? So, and when the lockdowns came, and I was working for the department, and I realised, oh no, there's nothing wrong with this. And the partner I was with at the time did a lot more research and was on the right page and said, "Look, are you really going to take this?" I said, "Well, yeah, of course. I've got a mortgage. I've been with the department for 17 years. I'm going to lose my job. I need the money." And she said, "No, you got to be crazy. Have a look at some of this literature." And then she showed me posts, of Serene doing posts, other people doing posts. And even I think I saw one of your posts, and I'm going, wow, hang on. How come so many people are on the right page? Like, what am I doing wrong? And working for the department, it was all those rules, wear your mask. And I was just a rule breaker, and I was getting into trouble all the time. And I'm going, oh, come on, guys, I'm nowhere near you. So I used to cheat a bit and just have cups of tea all the time. So I didn't have to wear the mask. It doesn't make sense. It's a no-brainer. Like I'm going, it's a no-brainer, and that stupid thing they used to do was, you put the temperature gauge to your head like a gun. And I went, who does that shit? Like, I don't want that. So I used to put it on my wrist. They go, oh, no, you don't. I said, yes, you do. You get a temperature out of your wrist. And they're going, oh, no, you got to. I'm thinking, oh, my God, all you guys are just shooting yourselves in the head. I was the only one at work. I was the only one at work.
Training. Like, you don't realize you're being groomed. What am I being groomed for? I don't get it.
Well, this is the thing, and I'm just going, oh, my God. I could see it clear every day because I was the only odd one. So I stupidly opened my mouth and said, why do you watch that shit news for? I said, this is all bullshit, this lockdown shit. I said, it'll be ended in bloody a month. And then, of course, 6 months goes by and they go, well, you reckon it's going to end? I said, yeah, it's all crap. And then I could really see my eyes opened up. And I went, oh, my God, I've been lied to. I have just been taken for a ride and totally just been screwed over. I mean, the governing bodies aren't the governing bodies. They're just a bunch of people that have been sold out, sold themselves out.
Yeah, and basically what you said, well, I've got a mortgage in this. Like I know in Canberra, they call it the golden handcuffs.
Oh,
and
really?
Basically, when I was there, that's what they told me. So the people who work there, they're on really good wage.
Yeah,
and
right.
they got really good privileges, or whatever you call it, the things that come with a good wage. And but if they speak their mind, if they challenge anything, that's right, Adam. If they challenge anything, they lose their job, lose their status, lose their job. Yeah, that's what she said. So basically, Canberra is a load of yes people. Now, this is the strange thing. You said before that you wanted to come on and talk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And talk about things that matter and talk. And you said it's because people don't talk anymore. They're too scared to talk. And I've been thinking about that after we got off the call. And I thought, what are they scared of? Albo? You're really scared of Albo? Or what? Is it his dog? Is it not him? It's his dog? You're scared he's going to stick that little dog that he always carries on you? I mean, what the hell are you scared of? You scared of Penny Wong? Is that what you're scared of? You're scared of Penny Wong? You think, Did you listen to the chant yesterday in Brisbane? Someone goes, they were chanting Penny Wong is Wong. Penny Wong is Wong. I'm going, oh, Jesus. It was so funny. I didn't say that. Just Mary C says, I'm writing, why is it golden handcuffs, Michael? Well, what they reckon is it's like in a gilded cage. There's so many benefits of actually working there, money, status, good benefits, that they just shut up and they won't say what they want to say. They won't speak out loud. And that's why one of them's reached out to me saying, you can speak for me. So they call it golden handcuffs. I never heard it till I was in Canberra, but I think around the country it's the same. In Melbourne, I saw a thing come out recently. I don't know if it's true. It was on the internet, so it's probably not true. But they were saying in Melbourne now, 9 out of 10 jobs created are government jobs.
That'd be right. Yeah.
It's government jobs. And so you work for the government and basically shut up.
Well, as you know, they're trying to get rid of small businesses, and they're the people that they hit the most with the taxes. When I had my cafe, they'd be hammering me for my taxes. I'm going, well, what about McDonald's? Don't worry about McDonald's. We'll just worry about you. It's like, seriously? Like, you're right there. Look, I went for the march after the big march in Canberra. I went the week after. I was really quite disappointed. I should have gone for the big epic march, but I went the week after, and that was really good. We drove, but they disbanded everyone from camping at Epic, of course. So I stayed at the farm out of bits in Canberra. I think the barrister owned the farm, did he? Some barrister. A beautiful property. But there again, they got infiltrated and some guy was trying to run the place. I'm going, who elected him? Like, who's this guy? And he was staying in the house and we were all camped, and he just comes in the morning, do the little speech, and he go, who's this guy? And someone said he's a copper, like an infiltrator. I'm like, what? And it just dispersed from there. I mean, it was great to go to Canberra, and the march wasn't as big as the previous week, but there was quite a lot of people there. But there again, we stopped at the shop and we weren't wearing masks because you had to wear masks. None of us that were in the march were wearing masks, and you could tell who the locals were because when we called into a little shopping area, you could hear people go, wear a mask, like, well, who's calling out to us? Like, and you can see all the locals have got their masks on. You bloody bastards, wear your mask, you bloody infiltrators or something.
I went there with a woman called Gisette, and she would come. She was doing photography. I was doing the recording. We got there that night and went to get something to eat at a Sizzler's place. Oh, you're frozen, Brian. Is he coming back? Is he frozen or am I frozen? Is any comments coming through? Hello. I'll just see. Any comments coming through? Doesn't seem to be. Brian is frozen. Okay, I'm going to kick Brian out, see if he gets back. Maybe send him a text and log back in. Just technical difficulties here. Here he is.
I dropped out, Michael.
Yeah, you did. You were frozen in a really sort of dramatic stance. You're like,
oh.
Like an Indian Zoolander. There's an Anglo-Indian Zoolander. Anyway, this is what we saw. Yeah. So I'm sitting there in this, the hamburger joint Sizzler, and we walked in without masks, and I was expecting them to say something, but the Indian security guard, he just didn't say anything. Sat down, we ordered. It was pretty tense, and we sat down there, and then next to us there was 3 people, a young woman and 2 young guys, big beefy young guys, and they were ordering with masks on. They came to the table and they sat down and they took their masks off, but because they got their hamburgers, so they took the masks off, and then they looked around and he didn't have a napkin, and the bar was like 7 meters away. So he stood up, put on his mask, went and got a napkin, came back, took off his mask. And I was like, you got to be quicker than that, mate. Because COVID's waiting. COVID's there going, as soon as he takes off that super protective facial covering, I'm in there and I'll kill him. You know, just damn, he's too quick. I mean, it's insane.
It was totally
It's
insane.
insane. And what was insane, they didn't want to question, which is like having when you're telling someone your wife's having an affair, your husband's having an affair.
Yeah,
They don't want to know. Get away from me. I don't want to know. And they just go on like everything's fine. Everything's fine. The hills are alive with the sound of the music.
Correct.
And I don't know where my husband is, but I'm sure he's not doing anything bad. Bullshit, And this is where we're at. We actually have to face the fact that our country is going in a direction that is leave most of us behind, and our kids.
But and it's funny. It's sort of like the politicians are leading the way, and people they're going. You're going to come. They're like the Pied Pipers, Come and follow us. We'll take you away to a better land. But at the same time, it's sort of like, no, I don't want to go down that road. And
you can even say this, like you said, you can name 3 things you like about yourself. Name 3 things about the government that we can completely trust. Anybody. 3 things about our government that we completely can trust to the bank. We can sit on it like it's a perch of truth and we're budgies. Name 3 things that we can completely depend on the government to be truthful and honest and transparent about. Just 3. There must be 3 things.
Is there anyone saying that there on the remarks?
No, they're just going back to their wolf whistling. They're just
sounds like that was a hit. But the thing is, like you said, 3 things we can say more than 3 things that are bad.
Taxes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. 3 things we like about it, maybe 3 things we like: lies, taxes.
Yeah, that's right.
But now this is the other thing. Now you're from India. People expect he's from India. He's going to support Indians come across. But what is your thoughts of what's happening with them coming over here to build 1 million houses?
Oh, that's just suicide for them. I really feel for the workers because they're just coming on a one-way mission. And the thing is, they're going to be thrown so much. The influx, the amount of dislike or discernity that what's going to happen with the people, the Indian people, it's like, I feel sorry for them because they're just going to go like, what the hell? What's going on? Why do these people hate us? They don't hate you. They just dislike that there's so much of people, so many Indians coming in. And I think the government it's a no-brainer. It's a self-sabotage, for the poor Indian people that are going to come across. And what I think the deal is that they're going to build 1 million homes, so the workers come here, and the deal was that our tradies train them how to build houses here. How does that work? Does that work? Because have you seen the homes that get built in India?
No.
You should see the scaffolding. Someone who's been to India will make a comment on that. You should see the electrical work. It's just wild. I just can't believe it. I mean, there's nothing against Indians at all. I love them. But the thing is, they're just setting themselves up. And these poor people that are going to come across, they're just, just cannon fodder, That's what's going to happen. It's going to create turmoil. I mean, look what's happening in America with the mass immigration exodus that they're kicking everyone out,
Well, it all gets back to who's the government serving? The big corporations, the bankers, or the people?
Well, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? That's it. When you say to people that aren't quite, awake, like I say to some people, the big thing was when I found out that the politicians, Pauline Hanson did that town hall meeting during the pandemic, plandemic. She read out that letter she got from Scott Morrison saying that all politicians were exempt.
Yes.
And she told everyone at the town hall meeting when she read it out, well, if I'm exempt, that means you all are exempt too. She says, why should politicians and all the judges and the commissioners, the police, be exempt? Like, people don't know that. Even today, when I tell people,
and they don't want to know it. It was the same in 11,000 specially chosen people in New Zealand were exempt. So this thing is so safe and effective in COVID. So why would you want to be exempt? And
that's right.
This is where we are, though. This is where we are. We live in a world of lies. Our country is girt by lies, and those lies are supported by cowards.
Oh,
This
totally.
is why it is.
You know, they just sell out. But remember when Brett Sutton said it on the news? One of the reporters said, "Well, hang on, how come the politicians are exempt?" And he made some excuse. Oh, it's a common law thing. Well, what do you mean?
No, constitutional thing.
Really? Oh, constitutional. There you go.
We're not in the Constitution.
Yeah, I know. Look,
yeah, we're in there. You're under sheep, mate. You're under sheep. Clause 9. There you are, sheep.
Yeah, I know. It's just like it's so common, but it's coming out more and more, which is a good thing in a way because the lies are getting bigger and not better, but they're just getting worse. But the thing is, they don't understand that people a lot of people are waking up. There's masses of people are just having conversations. Like even on that march on the 31st, irregardless of people vaccinated, unvaccinated, doesn't matter. We all come together. We were all marching together against what the government were employing, you know, like in the sense of, you know, immigration. And we all said it's too much. It's like, what do they want to do? What?
For instance, I just hit Kelly and I went today. We had to get buy a new generator because I don't know if you heard, but I drove off and I dragged my poor reliable generator who'd given me nothing but loyalty behind me, and I lost it. So we got a new one off Facebook Marketplace today, and but we had to go get some money out to get it. So we couldn't find any auto tellers anywhere, auto bank tellers.
Oh, really?
So we went into a huge multi-level supermarket and we're walking around it. It'll be here, somewhere here. Finally go up to the concierge desk and I go to the lady, "Where's the banks?" "Oh, there's no banks in here. There's some generic auto teller over there, but the banks are on the street. You just go there, turn right, you find them." Like, banks. And so they're being set up for cashless. They're being set up for cashless. That's what it is. Imagine a massive supermarket, no banks. You know what I mean? And try find an auto teller in Sydney. Good luck.
Really?
You know? Yeah, it's really hard. They're there, but they're hard. And now they're getting rid of them. You know what I mean? There's this sort of more are going to go. So they don't want us to have cash. So we're just being groomed. And the thing is, this is it. This is what we learn in school. Now, you would have learned it, or your brothers and sisters would have learned it, because you came to Australia, and if you're from another country, or if something wrong with you, or something different, you get bullied. And what happens if you give in to bullies?
We'll
just start. Yeah.
We're
just going to start the bus because we're going to have to cut it off because we're just going to run out of power. So 2 seconds.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Just keep wolf whistling.
Good work.
Okay, we might lose power any time now, so we might call it a night because
that's great. It's been brilliant. It's been so fun.
Mate, you are beautiful. You're a beautiful Australian. Wonderful.
Yeah, and I'll accept that too. I'll accept that, Cobber.
No worries, mate. You know.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it.
One of those double bludgeon wogs. We turn out to be pretty fair income Aussie, mate.
No worries. Yeah, it's all right. I loved it. Thank you so much. I could just be myself. You know?
Brian, finest Caffe's Harvest in Dalesford. He's a gorgeous man. Thanks for a gorgeous conversation, Brian. This has been great.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you.
We should get you on again. Any single girls, if you're interested, give us a hoy and we'll send you through. And just the women, nothing against the gays, but he prefers the women, as far as I know. And
no, you're right. You're right there.
You're right. Yeah, and stuff from that. And so let's just hear now. You're going to hear something you don't hear much anymore. This used to be a very common bird call in an older Australia, but you don't hear it anymore. So for you, there's sit back. For any woman under 30, be prepared. You might need to have therapy after you hear the sound because it's very dangerous to women. I mean, it's crippling to women. But here we go. Brian, before we play the last song, what's the last song? So much fun interview. I'm single. There you go. Joanne Groot. Now, just this last song was a poem I wrote that got me on the ABC. It was about Victoria Street.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID, but it talks about the multiculturalism, the beauty of Victoria Street. Because I used to do a tram. So this is a tram driver poem. It's been put to music. But here you are, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do one. I wish I could. But Brian, take us out with a sound that used to reverberate, especially at a building site, to reverberate around Australia and used to put a lot of smiles on a lot of dials until a small minority got offended. 1, 2, 3. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Stay there,
Thank
Brian. I'll
you.
talk to you after.
Thanks. Yep.
This is Victoria.
In soiled aquariums, grime by time, giant mud crabs, their kingdoms wired. Watch their last sun carving, sweeping silhouettes from the fruit bats, swimming off to who knows where. The dealers deal their wares here to the drowning arriving in European cars, quiet faces down narrowed lanes, craving a methadone cure. Vincent deals here, he travels my tram with Jenna, who is always by his side. Her floating eyes missing, the rest of drugs pass in Mandarin and Thai. We pass $2 shops selling stuff that simply won't last long enough to let anyone know that any of us were ever here. But here we are on the 109, the rich, the poor, and all of us lost in a history of moments filled with every color that we've been so far. I've seen everyone standing so old people can sit. I've seen everyone helping mothers lift their prams. I've seen everyone, and I mean everyone, almost absolutely everyone, smiling at the wide-eyed kids. Sometimes I get stuck by red traffic lights, and when I look in my mirror, just one view of your light is richer than all the juices that Vincent could sell in his life. And while we have not found them yet, I know in soul they hear all the answers these junkies will never find. They taunt me with their eloquent nouns that as yet I cannot speak. I hear adjectives that sound something like an old Muslim lady falling asleep next to a Jewish lawyer giggling into his phone. And as I ponder, Vincent with his gentle touch pulls Jenna's hair back from her leaving eyes. And despite all his love for her, I can see that he already knows that his heart won't be enough to keep her here.